This is one forum that the Supreme Court hasn't been shy about siding with, and also they've been very consistent on, because they've done the similar ruling in New York multiple times, but now they're actually, not banning how many people can be indoors for a church service, which, I don't know, that just kind of seemed like something that should have been protected under the First Amendment, and 6 of the 9 Supreme Court judges, all of the conservative ones, said that, there's no reason that Gavin Newsom should be putting a cap on any of these, just like what they did in New York. But I'm pretty sure on that first ruling, which was in November or early December, Roberts sided with the other side. So when it's on the West Coast, I guess Roberts kind of just doesn't like Newsom as much as he doesn't like Cuomo. I don't get it. The divided Supreme Court late Friday night blocked California from imposing an outright ban on indoor church services during the pandemic, but the justice kept in place for time, beginning capacity limits and a ban on singing and chanting. So again, they're just going by the pseudoscience that, if people are singing, it's just going to spread everything faster. That's fucking retarded. I know the irony of cussing in regards to reporting on a church story is not lost on me. In a decision with 4 separate interpretations, a majority of conservative justices ruled that while the court normally defers to elected officials on public health, and Governor Gavin Newsom's outright ban on church gatherings defied the Constitution. Yes, they were just trying. They were begging for an opportunity to not have to rule on this, but Newsom left them with no chance. The state's present determination that the maximum number of adherents who can safely worship in most cavernous cathedral is 0 appears to reflect not expertise or discretion, but instead insufficient appreciation or consideration of the interests at stake. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote in his partially concurring statement. Okay, so he still wanted to ride that fence. I guess it's a little too comfy for him. The court's 3 liberal justices dissented in granting a restraining order. Obviously, it's hilarious, right? Okay, you expect a Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan to just vote exclusively whatever the rights dogma would have them believe. You just never expect anything different from them. But when you're supposed to be an impartial, let's just pretend, we'll just go into the fantasy world for a minute. The Supreme Court is supposed to be a non-politicized body, and it's just supposed to interpret the Constitution. But it's hilarious how nobody ever questions those 3's motives when it comes to making a ruling. It's just always, okay, what does the left think? Okay, that's how they're going to rule. There's never been a time in history where it's been like this. Respondents are enjoining for enforcing the Blueprint's Tier 1 probation on indoor worship services against the applicants pending disposition of the petition for a writ of certiorari. The court ruled the application is denied with respect to the percentage capacity limitations, and respondents are not enjoined from imposing a 25% capacity limitation on indoor worship services in Tier 1. The application is denied with respect to the probation on singing and chanting during indoor services. The link to this article will have the full ruling from the Supreme Court, but that's not the entire point of this article. That is just to show the first of what is most assuredly going to be several L's for Governor or Emperor Gavin Newsom in the very near future. Because this motherfucker is facing a huge recall effort right now. As it stands, February 7th, 1.4 million people who reside in California. Unfortunately, I can't fill out and submit the petition, but if you're in California and you're watching this right now and you're not a big fan of everything that Governor Newsom has done, feel free to sign this and send it in, because they need 1.8 million signatures to a petition to get him to be recalled. That will not mean that he is removed from office just for that term. He will be placed onto another vote with many other people that are lining up already, and we'll get to those very quickly. I just want to go over what this petition means and what it could potentially lead to if they get to the 1.8 million people. So, and then there will be another runoff that will happen. Just like we had in Georgia with the 2 Senate seats up for grabs, there was another runoff that happened afterwards, and then this one, I believe, would happen in November. So there would be an additional governorship up on the line, and by all accounts, that is what's going to happen, because they have until the day after my birthday to make sure that this happens. But this petition has only been going for a couple of months, and they're, literally within striking distance. So let's take a look right now at who also could be on that ballot, okay? Because there are some interesting names Not wonderful, but interesting. Challengers to California Governor Gavin Newsom are lining up as a petition to recall the Democrat closes in on the number of signatures it needs to trigger an election. The Recall Gavin 2020, they should put a /2021 to be nice and fair about it. Campaign now has 1.4 million signatures. It needs almost 1.5, so yeah, within 4,300, or 12% of the votes cast in the last election for governor to succeed. For the petition to succeed, the governor has proved that he cannot succeed. Those behind the campaign have until mid-March to reach their target, no, March 10th. There have been several previous campaigns to recall Newsom, but this one, seems the most likely. John Cox, the Republican candidate who lost to Newsom in 2018, said he will run against Gavin Newsom, but it's going to take, I think everybody knows that California is as blue as a sapphire. There is nothing that anybody can do from the Republican side unless they have the name recognition of Schwarzenegger to hope to turn the governorship red. There would be no opportunity there. So let's see if there are any other big names here. Former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer has also declared his intention to run. That would be good because he presided over a very prosperous time for San Diego, so that would be interesting. But instead, he's going to run as a Republican, so who knows? He said that Newsom has failed California, and everybody pretty much believes that. His support rating has tumbled 16%, or 16 points rather. California, and he wanted to stand to make a difference, not to make promises. Strong message from a bird enthusiast. No fucking no. Governor Newsom's ruling class has failed us. They promised equality, but they gave us some of the worst income inequality in the nation. Yep. Far-right political commentator Mike Cernovich said he's going to run, although he concedes he has no chance in hell in winning. Yeah, exactly. I don't need Mike Cernovich to tell me that a Republican has less than a 0% chance of taking over that governorship. As the recall campaign has gathered steam, some critics have questioned who is behind it, even suggesting it is a right-wing coup. Oh my god, I bet you they think that Vladimir Putin is behind it. No, there is such a divide between Northern California down to Silicon Valley and then Southern California, okay? There's been a long time coming where they just want to remove the top half of California, call it like Jefferson, which is a sweet name for a state. I think that'd be pretty cool. Like, there is such a divide, okay? Like, we've seen places like Illinois, New York, which for the vast majority of the state, they are deep red districts, but it's just those little pockets of blue that overwhelm the rest of the populace and reign as a tyranny and then just keep voting for free shit all the time. That's what you have in California. There is a vastly different set of constituents that are pretty well divided along a geographical divide. So there's a case to be made because there's no indication that that state is going to be turning red or have any kind of a different opinion about the ruling class anytime soon. Like, it's nice that 1.5 million people are probably going to sign this. 1.8 would be even greater of a coup. Not like how left-wing pundits are trying to think that it's a coup. But it's going to take a reasonable Democrat to hop on this in order to figure out that Newsom's not the guy and try to work towards some kind of a reform. Because, okay, even if Newsom was being rather tyrannical with his COVID lockdowns, that is merely the tip of the iceberg. He's presiding over a state right now that could very well beat Illinois into bankruptcy, timeline-wise. He has ruined what was once the fourth largest economy in the world and has tumbled it down the charts. Everybody should have seen this coming who voted for him to be governor, okay? He did the exact same thing to San Francisco. His greatest implementation was the human poop detector app that you could sign up for. I shit you not. No joke. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I'd like to follow up on it once March 10th rolls around, or perhaps when they break that barrier to initiate the recall and see who starts to line up on this, because Newsom does get the opportunity to run again, okay? Like 1.5 million is only 12% of the voting populace, so, and Newsom won by like 60 or 70%. So this isn't a foregone conclusion that it's just going to be an ousting of a Democrat and then an installation of a Republican. Far from that. I think that's probably Cernovich's first good take by saying that he, and I'll extrapolate it to every Republican, has no chance in hell of winning. But with that said, guys, take a look out and be on the lookout for a bunch of L's coming Newsom's way in the very near future. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.